I got the new lighting in my room. Hopefully y'all fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? I spent some money. Hopefully y'all fuck with it. I think it makes it look better. I ain't gonna lie. Light skin, little action. You feel me? All right, we finna react. Let me know what you want to react to, and I'm gonna react to it.
If you're
but for now, let's get in this draft talk.
Near the top of the draft this year, then you have a lot of promising talent to get excited about at the top of this draft class.
Facts.
The best prospects this year come with varying skill sets of all shapes and sizes. And of course, the positives that they bring are the reason why they're projected to be the first names off the board. But in the real world, you need to factor in both the positives and the negatives. That brings us to today's video. Today, we'll be going through each of the top prospects in this draft, and we'll be identifying the biggest current weaknesses in their games. This is not meant as a way to discredit them or to be unnecessarily negative.
Right. We don't want no hate on this video.
To paint a realistic picture of what could potentially hold these guys back at the next level if they don't work on improving it. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even
hit my sub button, hit my follow button. What is we doing? Come on, guys.
Subscribe to the channel.
Lock in,
so
chat.
If you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button.
Donate a $5.
As not only does it help out a ton, but it also very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting off with the top prospect in the class this year, Cooper Flagg, the biggest weakness in his game right now is that he has a bit of a loose handle.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Physically advanced Flagg
Cooper Flagg not tough?
For a player his age, he's been able to comfortably get to his spots without much pushback against high school and college defenders, but at the NBA level, when you're going to be defended by the likes of guys like Jalen Williams, Herb Jones, and the likes of that level, he's going to need to tighten things up a bit. Keeping the ball closer to his body, especially on drives to the rim, should be something he's working hard on improving going into his rookie season, because there are definitely a lot of elite defenders in the NBA with the strength and length to poke the ball away. And
so they're saying Cooper Flagg got a loose handle. That's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Number one pick, loose handle
in his hands, and doesn't always create much separation. So if he wants to reach his absolute ceiling, this is where he can start in order to accomplish that.
I feel like
his top prospect will be.
I feel like Cooper Flagg's biggest problem. I don't think he got a problem. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like he got a pretty good handle for his size. He's not gonna be holding the ball. He's not a point guard, so he don't really need a tight handle. You know what I mean? He's more just catch and shoot, drive, mid-range pull up. What the fuck? Dylan Harper pull up jumpers. Dylan Harper definitely has a pull-up jumper in his bag. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what this dude's talking about.
Dylan Harper, and his biggest weakness going into the draft is his pull-up jumper.
I thought he had a nice pull-up jumper.
Is a strong, crafty guard with unbelievable playmaking skills.
Damn, give me that shit.
Basketball IQ running the offense, and more often than not can get to the rim at will, where he's an unbelievable finisher in the paint. But when defenders are able to keep him in front of them and force him to settle for
he did slip in 2-game winners, but that's not a ball handling problem. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's not a weakness. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know.
Mid-range or from three. That has always been a big win for the defense. At Rutgers this year, Harper made just 27.5% of his
I thought he had a nice pull-up jumper. I'm lying.
And just 29.6% of his pull-up three-point.
That's more of the court's wet type thing. I don't know.
Not good enough for a lead guard in today's NBA. Of course, he did go a stretch dealing with injury, and he's a very reliable shooter off the catch. So there's reason to believe he can improve in this area with hard work, but at the moment, it's easily the part of his game that he needs to work on the most. Next up is Ace Bailey, and
alright, this is who I want the Pelicans to draft. Selfish. Hey, fuck it. That's what we need. I don't care.
His biggest weakness
we need that on the Pelicans.
Is his selfish
Someone's got to score.
Ace Bailey obviously has unbelievable natural talent as a basketball player and is probably the best pure shot maker in the class. But what separates a guy from being an empty stats player and an impactful winner is more often than not their mindset, and everything that Ace has shown so far gives off the impression that he's all about himself. At Rutgers,
we do have Poole now too. We got to talk about that actually. After this video, remind me to talk about Poole, bro. We actually got to talk about that shit.
He had the lowest blow-by rate of all of the top prospects in this class. demonstrating a
Give me that
lack of
shit.
wiggle and an inability to beat defenders off the dribble, yet he would still refuse to pass the ball, settling very often
My
for
type of
tough
dunk.
pull-up contested jumpers. Then when you factor in his combine interview where he said those were good shots that he practices, plus the fact
That's what I like
that
to hear.
reports are coming out now about him refusing to work out with certain teams, trying to...
How y'all feel about him not working out with certain teams? I feel like that's a good. I feel like everybody does that. I don't know why. Because Kenyon Martin was on Gil's Arena the other day talking about he didn't work out. He only worked out for like one team. I don't like he give up. It comes. Nah, I fuck with the Jordan Poole. All right, let's talk about it right now. I fuck with the Jordan Poole trade personally, because I feel like that's what we needed. Like I feel like the Pelicans, like CJ McCollum was coming in, jacking up threes every time he touched the floor. Like, I didn't really like that. Like I went to a couple games, right? Every time I went to a Pelicans game, CJ McCollum was just transition, pull up three, brick. Like I'm not trying to see that all game. Jordan Poole at least gonna give me some highlights. You know what I'm saying? And he could low key pass the shit out the ball. Low key, like he didn't pass on the Wizards, but that's the Wizards. Nah, I feel like he's gonna be more consistent. I ain't gonna lie. You got to think he playing with Zion, so Zion's gonna be the main. Zion's gonna be the main scorer for sure, and then Trey's gonna be the next scorer, and then Poole. Poole's gonna have like an Andrew Wiggins type of game. You know what I mean? When he's on, like he's gonna be like the Andrew Wiggins of Timberwolves for us. Hopefully. I feel like that's what the Pelicans needed, because they got a whole bunch of defensive players already. Now you add in Poole, who's just a main scorer. Yo, we finna be tough. That's what we needed. Because CJ was, but let's be realistic, CJ's a good 5'5" on a good day. You know what I mean? He's not really cutting it for us. Poole's a good 6'3", 6'4", hits a shot whenever we're in the clutch. CJ ain't hit no shots in the clutch. I like the Poole. Yeah. No, take out Washington Wizards Poole, bro. That's not the Poole that we're talking about. It's Golden State backup point guard Poole. You know what I mean? And then we got Bruce Brown right behind him. You know what I'm saying? Lionel Rose going to be at the games. You know Jordan Poole's going off. Let's be real. This is a perfect scenario for us, bro. We got Bruce Brown. Bro, CJ McCollum is trash. I don't care what nobody says, bro. I'm glad we got rid of him. He brought nothing to the team besides a veteran leadership. Glad we picked up Poole. I like the pickup. Joe Dumars, hey, that's my favorite GM that the Pelicans have ever had, bro. Cause he knows what to do. We got Bruce Brown, whose baby mama is Lana Rose. We got Jordan Poole, who only plays good when the Huzz are there. Lana Rose finna bring her friends. Jordan Poole's gonna be courtside like, oh shit, splash. You know what I'm saying? Now we pick up a shooting guard or a small. Yeah, exactly. We get Ace Bailey tonight, bro. We're set. And low key, we don't even need Ace Bailey. We low key just need this dude, Nikhil Clifford. We literally just need him, and we're gonna be set, bro. Like real shit. If we don't even get a good player, we have Trey Murphy, bro. We're set, bro. We're good. Trust. We're good, bro. I think this year is gonna be better when we have Boogie and AD. I'm being dead serious. I believe that 100%. Yeah, I don't know.
Control his own destiny. I'm just getting a lot of red flags about his mindset as he prepares for the next level.
Hey.
Next up is VJ Edgecombe, and the biggest weakness in
VJ's nice too. I fuck with VJ,
is his
but he's gonna go early.
Creation skills. Edgecombe's allure as a prospect is that he could be a truly elite perimeter defender. He's a freak athlete who can make highlight plays at the rim
on his
and
head.
get the team going. He moves well off the ball, and he does whatever is asked of him to help his team win games. But right now, he's not really someone you can trust to go get a bucket for themselves yet. He heavily favors his right hand, he's not a consistent pull-up shooter right now, and he struggled getting by college defenders off the dribble this year at Baylor. It also doesn't help that he doesn't draw many fouls or get to the free throw line that much. His volume in these situations was low because he does well playing to his strengths and knows how to make the most of his minutes, but until he improves in such a pivotal area like this, then his ceiling will be slightly lower than some of the other players around him, even if his floor is simultaneously much higher. The next top prospect we'll be discussing today is Knipple, and his biggest weakness heading into the draft is his lateral quickness.
But he doesn't have to be lateral quickness because he's a fucking pull-up jumper. Not a pull-up. He's a catch and shoot player. He's really a 3 and D.
His game has never been predicated on athleticism.
Yeah, that's what I'm
he's
saying.
One of the most
He don't need that.
wing players in the draft.
He's a JJ Redick.
But his concern is definitely with his ability to keep up with the top end.
Yeah, he's good.
Of the NBA.
He's going to be in the league for a little while. He can shoot. That's all you need in the league.
To be physical with his matchup, but against
if he literally just plays the JJ Redick role, he can stay in the league for 15 years. No bullshit.
There's good reason to believe he could struggle to stay in front of them. At the Combine, they do a lane agility drill testing how quickly players can stop and start and change directions, and Khan had the 6th slowest time in that drill out of the entire event. He did finish closer to the top in the shuttle run drill, which is a much more condensed version of that drill, so in short bursts there's room for optimism, but over the course of an entire game, his upside as a perimeter defender is pretty limited.
Damn.
Next up is Trey Johnson, and his biggest weakness going into the draft is his lack of strength. Trey Johnson
never even heard of him.
is one of the
Who is this guy?
best scorers in the class with elite shot creation skills and a silky smooth pull-up jumper, but his shot volume in the paint is relatively low for a reason.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this guy.
He's not particularly strong.
He must be buns.
Whether it be with his first step, attacking the rim, or shooting through contact. He only attempted 2 shots per game at the basket in half-court settings at Texas, which is very low.
I swear to God, if the Pelicans get this guy, I'm crashing out.
When he did get to the rim, he wasn't a very reliable finisher, making just 46% of his layups. When you watch him play, you can tell he's shying away from contact and would rather get his shot off from the perimeter than in the paint. And while he was an elite shooter, knocking down 40% of his threes this year, he's going to need a more balanced shot diet in the NBA to score the ball at the same rate that he did in college. And that won't happen until he hits the weight room and adds some strength to his frame so he can handle the rigors of more drives to the rim through contact. Next up is Kaman Maluwach, and his biggest weakness going into the
hand-eye coordination. How do you even measure that? What the fuck are we talking about?
The draft is his hand-eye coordination. This is basically a fancier way of saying he's an incredibly raw talent at this point in time, but his work with his hands impacts a lot of his shortcomings at the moment. Overall, Maluwach has all of the physical tools an NBA team could dream of from a center prospect, as a legit 7-footer with a ridiculously long wingspan and standing reach, but he has a long way to go before he learns how to put those tools to good use.
He does.
His struggles in this
He's solid though. Like if the Pelicans get him, I'll be happy as hell.
The game really exposed them on the biggest stage, as Maluwach failed to reel in a single rebound against an undersized Houston team.
Never mind, I don't want him. No rebounds? Yeah, I'm good, bro.
He doesn't have the strongest hands, so the ball gets ripped away from him quite often on the glass, and when he's in the paint trying to score, he's also been prone to committing turnovers.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
His lack of ball security.
I would say his biggest weakness.
Twist. What if you could get big bank muscle with small bank hustle?
His biggest weakness is definitely his shooting.
His biggest weakness going into the draft is his defense. Fears is a polarizing prospect for a few reasons.
And shooting. This man shot like 20%, bro, from 3.
With his offensive production not being very efficient yet, but his incredible creativity on the ball, his natural passing talent, and his shot-making skills give reason to buy in on that end. The defensive end is another story, though. Fears just doesn't have the fundamentals of defense down right now, which is worrying for someone who is also pretty small for an NBA guard. He's already at risk of being taken advantage of physically, weighing in as
I hope the Pelicans pass up on him, bro. I don't want this guy.
Here with a wingspan of just 6'5" long. So in order to make up for that, he would need to be someone who is locked in at all times with the instincts and motor to fight hard, and he just doesn't have that right now. He consistently allowed rim pressure getting beat off the dribble, his ability to maneuver through screens was pretty poor, and there were too many instances of him falling asleep defending off the ball for my liking. Next up is Colin Murray Boyles, and his biggest weakness going into the draft is his lack of shooting. Murray Boyles is one of the most unique talents in this year's draft because there are a lot of parts of his game that lead you to believe he can be an elite glue guy in the lineup on both ends of the floor, but the thing that severely limits his upside is the fact that he's not a reliable shooter of the basketball.
He's solid.
He's someone who plays
actually, yeah. Oh, at 23, yeah. We can get him at 23. I wouldn't be mad.
Dominated as a scorer because because physically he can win most matchups in the paint, and his post work and finishing skills are excellent. But he measured in at just 6'7" at the combine, making him very
just 6'7"
for the position. And in the NBA,
damn near a
he's
foot
not
taller
going
than
to
me,
defend
just
nearly as
6'7"
many
though.
post touches as he got at South Carolina. To be effective on offense in the NBA while being that undersized, you simply have to be able to space the floor as a shooter. But Murray Boyles is a non-factor from the outside. He attempted just one single three-point shot per game this season and shot just 26% on those shots. So needless to say,
oh God, who the fuck is this?
Some work to do. And finally, the last prospect we'll be discussing today is Derek Queen.
But this dude doesn't need athleticism. That's not his... that's a flaw, I guess, but he doesn't need athleticism. This dude's 6'10" and a fucking post player. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't really need it.
And his biggest weakness going into the draft is his lack of athleticism. Queen might be the most offensively gifted and skilled big man in this draft this year, but the big worry when it comes to him is the defensive end, which stems fully from the fact that his athletic limitations are very glaring. He's not the quickest, most mobile, or most agile player in the world. He lacks explosiveness, and things like this not only show up regularly in game film, but the measurements at the combine also back them up. In the lane agility drill, Derek Queen ranked dead last. In the standing vertical leap,
this dude was dead last behind Knipple. Ooh, that's pretty bad. I ain't gonna lie.
Ranked dead last. In the max vertical leap, Queen
I ain't gonna lie, dead last is kind of crazy.
In the shuttle run, Queen ranked second to last. In the three-quarter sprint, Queen ranked second to last. You get my point. For him to succeed, he's going to need to be consistently involved in the offensive scheme, because defensively, he is going to...
Yeah, that's kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. Dead last is kind of crazy.
I got my chain, I'm trying to hit